Hi everybody, this is Boog-ass Reviews, and today I'm going to be doing a review on the Neca Iron Maiden Future Past World Tour Eddie 2-pack. So, I actually forgot that this set came out. I don't know how I did because now that I have it in hand, it is an incredible set. So before we take a look at the Senjitsu Eddie, let's go ahead and look at the Somewhere in Time Eddie, which is one of my all-time favorite Iron Maiden album covers. So first up, Eddie comes with a set of these open hands. Up next, he comes with these, I guess you'd also consider these open hands. They kind of look like grappling hands to me. Truth be told, I definitely won't be using these hands. Up next, he comes with accessory holding hands and his longer blaster. And this looks really good. It's cast in this shimmery gunmetal color and has touches of gold, silver, and black on it. And man, that looks really good. It also has an ammo clip right here. And that looks pretty awesome. And finally, he comes with his blasters. Each of these can be held in his holsters or in his hands. And he actually has a really tight grip on these. He looks really cool holding them. My only complaint is this wire feels really thin. It is connected down here at the top of his hips, and then to the side of the blasters right here. And it feels like this could rip off if you're not too careful. So most likely I'm probably going to be leaving it like this, that way I don't move it too much, because I could definitely see this really thin wire splitting apart right here. So now, let's go ahead and take a look at his head sculpt. So taking a look at this head sculpt, I think Neca did a phenomenal job at not only sculpting it, but painting it as well. I mean the whole figure. It looks like, just like Derek Riggs' artwork. Like, it looks like it stepped straight off the album cover right there. All the texturing to his skin, or the muscles I should say, looks really nice. I love the headpiece that he's wearing with the targeting eye right here, as well as the mic. That looks really cool. And the mechanical components up here on the top of his head, they're sculpted really nicely. I believe they're cast in black and then have silver dry brushing over top of them. And man, that looks really good. Just all of the muscles on this figure and the veins are sculpted really nicely. I think the figure is actually cast in this darker color right here, and then has some lighter variation over top of it to bring the detailing out really nicely. And that really works. You also get touches of silver here. I really love how biomechanical he looks. It's just a really interesting design. And man, Neca did a really awesome job with this. Like right here in between the ribs, you can see the mechanical parts that have that dry brushing of silver over top of them. It looks like the wires here have a slight dry brushing to them. I wish there would have been a little more dry brushing right here. But it still looks really, really good. And then back here you can see some more of his mechanical skeleton here, like the spine. This is just a phenomenally sculpted figure. I didn't realize how much sculpt detail there would be on this figure till I picked it up. And the paint variation too. I love all of the little tiny pieces of silver you get right here, as well as the gold. And then the color variation that you get over top of all of his muscles here. That looks really, really awesome. The only real complaint that I have with this figure is they painted the ball-jointed hips right here in gold. So his hips are stuck really bad. You don't really see that, so I would have preferred them just to leave it in whatever color it's cast in. But yeah, they painted it, and it makes the joint right here really tight. So I am afraid I'm going to break the hips when I move it around. You'll see why once I get to the articulation. As I said, I'm just in awe of how much sculpt detail he has, and the gold and silver that Neca used just really stands out. The way it's sculpted right here with the knee pads, it hides the articulation. From the back, of course, you see the double joints right here, or the double jointed knees, but from the front, it's hidden really well. I think from the waist down, the articulation is integrated really, really well. If they would have cast these ankle joints in gold, I think that would have been pretty seamless. But you even get some detailing to the feet right here, like you can see textured lines and wrinkles on the top of his toes right there. And then even the bottoms of the feet are sculpted really nicely. You get some more really nice paint variation, as well as some sculpt detail to the bottoms, like the ends of his toes are done in gold, as well as this part back here. Man, this is just an incredible looking figure. As I said, this is one of my favorite Iron Maiden album covers, and I think they did the artwork justice. It translates to figure form really well. So now, let's go ahead and go over his articulation. So he has a ball-jointed head, and when you're articulating that, you will have to watch because of the target right here, the mic, and then the antennas on each side of his head. These do feel really fragile, so if you want to move his head up, you have to grab kind of back here. So he can look up all the way, he can look down all the way, he can move his head side to side really nicely, and all the way around. He has shoulders that can move out that far, single jointed elbows that can just about bend in all the way. On his accessory holding hands, he has hinged wrists that can move up and down and side to side. You don't want to move it all the way around if you have the guns in his hand. He has a ball jointed diaphragm and waist that really can't move back at all. He really can't move forward that far. He can't really move side to side up here. He can move side to side really nicely down here at the waist. Now here is where I have the biggest issue. The hips on this figure only move out that far. Oh man, that is an awful sounding joint. Yeah, I feel like if I move that too much, it's going to break. This side is just as bad. On the Senjitsu Eddie figure, the paint started chipping away on the hip joints, so his hips move a little better now. But yeah, these don't want to move at all. So if you get this pack, definitely be careful of that. He has a swivel thigh that I think it's articulated pretty nicely, but I don't want to move the hips out for fear of breaking that ball joint right there. He has double jointed knees that can move back all the way, ankles that can move down all the way, up all the way, and a nice ankle rocker. So now let's go ahead and take a look at Senjitsu Eddie and all of his accessories. So first up, he comes with an alternate right hand throwing horns up. Up next, he comes with an alternate pointing left hand. Up next, he comes with an alternate middle finger left hand, which is an incredibly awesome accessory. Up next, he comes with his helmet, which is so intricately sculpted. Man, it has some really awesome sculpt detail to it, especially right here at, I don't know if you'd consider that crest, but man, the sculpt detail to that is really good. You get gold, green, and red tones painted over top of it, and the helmet, I believe, is cast in either gunmetal or black, and it has a silver dry brushing over top of it that brings all of those details out really nicely. You also get some green tones here on the right side and gold on the left, and man, that is just sculpted and painted so well. The only downside is it does tend to fall off of his head a lot if you're posing the figure around. And these points right here are really, really thin and fragile. So yeah, I might actually make a strap for this. That way it'll for sure sit on his head. Maybe going from right here to right here. I know that won't be accurate, but at least then it'll stay on his head and I won't have to worry about it falling off and possibly breaking. Up next, he comes with these handles of his swords to put in the sheaths. And it's kind of odd that you can't actually put the swords down in there. Maybe the swords are so thin that they're not meant to. And these pop in pretty easily. But on the short one, this is actually a dagger, not a sword. It did actually break, so I did have to make a post for this one. So just have to line it up. And it does stay. So yeah, definitely be careful of taking these out too much, because they will snap because of how thin they are. Up next, he comes with his katana. And this looks really good. You get some blood on the end of his sword right here. And it actually uses a combination of solid paint right here at the end, and then printed on detailing here towards the edge of the blood. And that looks really good. The handle is also sculpted really nicely. The wrapping and then the gold dragon right there, that looks very awesome. Up next, he comes with his flaming katana, which looks really, really cool. I definitely think that the flame should have been cast in a translucent blue plastic instead of just solid, but I still think it looks good nonetheless. The blue actually has some really light blue paint over top of it, giving it some variation. And yeah, that looks really awesome. Up next, he comes with his dagger, and I love the blood paint on this. The only downside is if you get him holding his katana in both hands, then you are going to stretch this one out to where it won't properly hold the dagger here. So that is unfortunate. I did really want him to hold this, but I also wanted to get him in a two-handed pose for the katana. But yeah, it's stretched this hand out now and he can't properly hold it. You can see how it just kind of comes out of his hand really easy. And finally, he comes with this angry open mouth head sculpt. And man, that looks really awesome. Just all the textures on him and the paint variation. Even just the detailing in his mouth with that gloss red for the tongue and the gums there. That looks really good. That head is sculpted really nicely. So let's go ahead and try to put this on there. Yeah, that looks really, really cool. So now, let's go ahead and take a closer look at his standard head sculpt. So just like with the angry head sculpt, Neca detailed this so well. The texturing to the skin looks really awesome. I believe the base color that he's cast in is gray, and you have this brownish color painted over top of that. You get some texturing to his horns there. You get this, it's like a brownish color for his teeth with a black wash over top of them, with that sinister smile. Man, that looks really good. Neca really went above and beyond with the detailing on this figure. His armor is detailed so nicely. You get this painted here on the chest plate, as well as some tones of blue and green. It's really hard to see, but yeah, he gets some dry brushing of blue, green, and gold right here. And the shoulder pads also look really good. They're textured, they're cast in this black color and have a dry brushing of silver, and then over top of the silver, you get green and red paint, as well as gold for the chainmail right there. Now, on the package, this said that the shoulder pads were considered accessories. I was like, why is that? And you can actually remove these, which he looks really, really scrawny without them. But I actually think that helps in posing. You know, you get him in the pose that you want, and then you just slide these back on. I start right here, and then slide them up like that. I think that's why they designed it like that. And that really surprised me, but it actually really works. And that looks really good. I think it's, now that I have it in hand, it's really cool that you can remove those to pose him around. You get a bunch of paint variation and detail to his skin. It's textured really nicely. I believe it's cast in gray and has light gray paint over top of it, a black wash, and then a subtle brown wash. So it brings all of the details out really nicely. Like the veins here on the hand and the textures in between it. And even his sheaths. That looks really good. You get some texturing and looks like maybe a little bit of battle damage right here. That looks really awesome. Now, in the package, you do have to put the sheath to the katana on. As far as I can tell, the dagger sheath isn't removable, but you can actually remove this if you want. It was kind of tricky to get through here, so I wouldn't remove it too much. You could make it loose right here in the wrapping. But I did forget to mention that. You can remove it if you want. And some more really intricate detailing right here on his armor. Just the tones of gray, gold, and red. Man, that looks really awesome. On this one you get blue, down here you get a dry brushing of silver and green. I was pleasantly surprised with how much paint and sculpt detail this figure has on it. You even get some texturing to his pants, or his tattered pants I should say. I believe they're cast in either black or really dark brown and have light brown paint over top of them. And that looks really good. The way it's sculpted, it doesn't hinder his articulation at all. I actually believe this is an overlay. Yeah, I think the pants are an overlay over top of his legs, and it looks like they're actually sculpted all the way up there. And finally, you get his boots. You can see some subtle texturing going on the boots, as well as the wrapping, and a little bit of paint detail. You get that dry brushing of, it looks like silver and red. Man, that looks really good. As I said, this figure is just incredibly detailed having him in hand. The paint detail and sculpt of the armor just really pops in person. It looks amazing. So now, let's go ahead and go over his articulation. So with the helmet on, almost all of his articulation in the head is hindered. But if you take that off, he can look up all the way. He can't really look down that far. He can move his head side to side and all the way around. He has shoulders that, even with the shoulder pads on, can move out just about all the way. Single jointed elbows that can bend in that far. Accessory holding hands that have hinges that move up and down and spin all the way around. He has a ball jointed waist that can move back very slightly. It almost feels like he has a ball jointed diaphragm too, because when you crunch forward you can see his armor folding in because it is a soft overlay piece. So he actually might have a ball jointed diaphragm up there too. As I said, since I've started posing this figure around, the paint on the hip joints has chipped. It is still kind of noisy, but the hips can only move out that far. I don't want to risk splitting the armor right here. He can kick forward a decent amount. He can kick back all the way. He has a really nice thigh swivel. Single jointed knees that can move back that far and move side to side. Ankles that can move down all the way, up very slightly, and a little bit of an ankle rocker. So now, let's do some size comparisons. So first up here, they are next to the Number of the Beast Eddie figure. And while he does look good, it really makes me wish that he had the articulation that these two have. It's really weird that this one's more of like a statue, and these are, actual articulated ultimates. And finally here they are next to the retro-clothed 2 Minutes to Midnight Eddie figure. And surprisingly, he doesn't scale too bad with them. Usually the retro-clothed figures are a lot larger than the regular figures, but yeah, he doesn't scale too bad with them. So overall, I would highly recommend picking this setup because I think Neca did a phenomenal job on it. The sculpt and paint detail on both of these figures is out of this world. I think Senjitsu Eddie actually has just a little bit more than Somewhere in Time Eddie, but both figures have incredible paint and sculpt detail, and I think the articulation is decent for the most part. The only place that it's really hindered on both figures is in the hips, and that's just because of the way they painted them, and it made the joints really stiff and tight. Other than that though, this set is amazing and definitely must have, especially if you're an Iron Maiden fan. The only real downside of this pack is it is kind of pricey since it is 2 figures, but I can say that now that I have it in hand, it is absolutely worth the price. Neca just did a really good job on this, and I would highly recommend picking it up if you see it. So, that's my review. If you like this review, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.